Good evening, everybody, and welcome to today's session or a discussion, I would say, on let's talk about periods, right? I understand each one of us have been experiencing or completed the process of our menstrual cycle. However, some of us are yet to start, and then some of us have already completed or in the process of going through that. So, without further delay, let's see, what comes to our mind when we are going through these periods. See, we all have some or the other worries attached to our periods, right? So when it comes to periods, I think in the group also many of them have texted saying that what comes to the first thought that brings out that comes out of their mind when they are talking about periods is cramps, pains, headache, cravings. And I'm sure we all can relate to it. So now I want to ask Deepa, what is your biggest worry about your periods? You're still experiencing or going through one, right? Yeah, please.
Yes, ma'am. The thing is, 28 days of cycle if it comes properly, I'm not worried. If it moves away like 5 days before or 5 days after, recently I got 5 days before, I was worried. Yeah, why the cycle is getting break? What happened? Is anything difference in my body or anything? What's happening? Will it trouble me? I went far thinking about it. But the thing is, if any functions or anything is there, there it comes. Now the festivals are coming, no? Then I am worried about it. Will it be on the same day or after 5 days or 2 days, 3 days? What? So and before periods, maybe like 2 or 3 days. Even my husband also watched me. I will be cranky somewhat. I will be irritated for everything. Whatever, even saying yes also I'll be shouting or something. Something will be happening and cravings will be there. I will be asking na adu beku, idu beku. Uh, then he'll be knowing, oh, periods hatra ಬಂತು. He'll get to know, oh, ಬಂತು ಇವಾಗ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಹುಷಾರಾಗಿರ್ಬೇಕು ನಾವು. After periods is done, periods time is also okay. After that, it's fine. Everything will be okay. Before only, before. And thigh pain is the more for me now, most of. ಆದ್ರೂ ನಾನು ಯಾವುದೇ ಏನೇ ಕಷ್ಟ ಆದ್ರೂ ನಾನು ಎದ್ದು ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. But I have seen people who never get up from the bed. I don't know it is really or what happens to them. I don't know. ಎದ್ದೋಳಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗಲ್ಲ, ಹೊಟ್ಟೆ ನೋವು, ಅದು ಇದು ಏನೋ ಎಷ್ಟೊಂದ್ ರೀಸನ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಐ ಡೋಂಟ್ ನೋ ಬಟ್ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಡೂ ಇಟ್. ನನಗೆ ಒಂಥರ ಇರಿಟೇಷನ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಅದರಿಂದ ಹೊರಗ್ ಬರೋದಕ್ಕಾದ್ರೂ ಅಟ್ಲೀಸ್ಟ್ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಕಮ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಡೂ ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್.
Fantastic, Deepa. Big round of applause to you for that wonderful, sharing. And I'm sure we can all relate to it, right? So, why I thought we have to have a session on this is because I went through a journey of my own, menstrual cycle. Because do I have your permission to share a little about me, and then why, what is the purpose of discussing, talking about menstrual health when it's a taboo around, because people hush hush about menstrual periods? Is that, see, I have been always, I think I started having my periods in my early 18, I mean, yeah, I think 16, 17, that time I had my periods. And since then I always had these painful ones, and I used to faint also. because of my body weakness, and I used to have severe aches and pains. Okay. And I didn't know how to deal with it, right? I always went from one gynecologist to another, and then they kept saying that with time it is going to be okay. I'm sure you all can relate to this, right? So when you go from doctor to doctor, they only tell you with time it is going to be okay. Once you get married, I mean, this is my experience, they told me, yeah, once you get married it's going to normalize, or you're going to be okay, or once you have kids you're going to be okay. And to tell you all, it never became okay, right? So after two kids I still had the same, aches and pains. However, I had more to deal with it. I think because of all those responsibility, I started neglecting my aches and pains and get involved into some other form of activity. So now, I think at 45, what I have realized is that at 40 I became, pain free, and now I keep moving my body. And why I did it is because I had to figure out my own way what was really giving me all such pains. Because, see, as a human being, we are all treated as a different identity. Like, my menstrual health is very different from my physical health and my mental health or emotional health. So, every person that I went to, everybody was treating me as a different entity and trying to resolve my menstrual health issues. I'm sure you can all relate, right? So they say, there is something that is, a issue in your uterus or in your ovarian region or in your reproductive system, basically. However, you know, going through the self learning process and seeking help from a lot of coaches and trainers and all, what I have realized is that I am not just one dimensional, I am multidimensional, right? So my physical health, mental health, emotional health, and how my nutrition is also equally important in managing my own health, right? So when I started working through my nutrition and analyzing how my poor nutrition was one of the reason, I'm saying one of the reason, it is not the only reason. And when I started approaching my menstrual health holistically, that is working at my body, working at my thought process, working at my emotions, and also making sure I eat right and I have a discipline in my own sleep regime, I could manage to be free from all of this. So today at 45, I have a pain free and a healthy menstrual cycle. When I hear 25-year-old, girls are suffering from PCOD, PCOS, it only happened because of a holistic approach, not just treating my body or my reproductive system and not addressing my nutrition or hormonal balance. Because hormonal balance is an outcome of lot of underlying things that have attain the balance in, right? Without that I couldn't succeed. And that is what I want to you know reiterate to everybody, every women out there, that don't isolate your reproductive system and then think that because of that one issue I'm going through all of this. No, it is. And I think the first thing that impacts our reproductive system is when everything else is not right, then the first impact happens on the reproductive system, because that is something that I can manage without, right? So the first system that gets damaged or impacted when I ignore my physical, mental, and emotional health is the menstrual cycle. Because we can all live without having our periods, but then it starts shutting down one system at a time, right? So it is only a symptom, and if you are looking at your menstrual health issues as the only problem, then I will watch on it that it is not the only problem. There are a lot more underlying issues under this, umbrella of irregular periods or a painful periods, right? So there might be any nutritional issue, there might be a physical, health issue, there might be an hormonal health issue, imbalance. There can also be loads of stress, right? And what I have experienced again and again in my life is that, see, my periods is an outcome of how well I live in this 28 days of mine. Okay, if my these 28 days are very stressful or over, worked up, or loads of emotional burden and lack of nutrition, then the last 3 4 or 3 to 5 days of my menstrual cycle is going to hit hard, right? So you need to be remembering that my periods is an outcome of my health over the previous 28 days or 25 days. Not necessary that everybody has to have a 28-day cycle. It varies from person to person, and it varies from month to month. And this is what I have been experiencing over the years. And I think realizing that, I have started not focusing at menstrual health issue as an isolated condition. No, it has a root in much more deeper in my body, which I was ignorant about. So I think over the years I realized that, yes, I need to take care of my nutrition. I also need to keep moving my body, because if I don't move my body, what really happens is that there's no proper circulation. So at the beginning of my cycle, I end up having severe cramps. And because of consistent, work on my own physical and mental and emotional health, today I won't have any aches and pains. And of course, thanks to hydration, because without hydration or without proper nutrition, my cramps would continue. Today I'm free from all of that, thanks to understanding that, you know reproductive system is not the only reason, right? It is lot more underlying issues which are spilled over to the reproductive system. So thank you everybody for listening to my experiences. Yeah, so can you all see this? Yeah, so what do you see here? Yes, Sushi ma'am, please go ahead.
Yeah, a tree with apples, different sizes, different shapes, colors.
Thank you, Suchi ma'am. So now, this is this signifies a healthy tree, right? Which is fruit bearing, right? So the purpose of our self, our menstrual cycle or womanhood or reproductive system is to make sure we are growing healthy and give fruitfulness in our life. So now, what are the essentials for a tree's healthy growth and fruitfulness? Yes, Deepa. So what do you think is essential for a tree to grow healthy and give away fruits? Yes, Suchi. Yeah.
Water. I'll be back, ma'am.
Yes, Suchi ma'am. Please go ahead. Thank you.
I think most importantly, the fertility of the soil, right? So, how well? So, if it is in relation to our own body, it will mean fertile, how nutritious, how good our general health is. I think that's one of the things. And definitely water. And there's definitely, what do you say, sunshine and the correct nutrients. So it needs to be taken. And if there is any kind of a disease or anything, infections, which has to be treated. So I think periodically the whole year, the tree you want to give, because I think being a crazy woman of nature and loving nature, so I am very think about how does a plant grow well, what all should I do. So I would, so beautiful to relate the growth of a healthy tree to our own health, which is menstrual health, because yes, it is giving in the fruits of life. Bringing in another life is the whole purpose of the menstrual cycle in a woman. And such a beautiful analogy, I think. Beautiful.
So thank you, Suchi ma'am.
Sunlight, water, and what? Nutrition, fertile soil, all of those kind of things. Timing.
Yeah, thank you.
Whatever.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah. So I think, as Suchi ma'am rightly pointed out, there's a beautiful analogy between our, tree and a women reproductive system, because we all, tree needs the sunlight and the water, nutrient, soil and climate, and also protection and soil management. So these are some of the, major. I'm not saying I've covered everything, but I've tried to, bring in as much maximum things that are needed for a plant to grow. So without the sunlight, the plant doesn't grow. Without the water and sufficient adequate nutrients and soil of good quality, as which I mentioned, the weather condition also needs to be supportive, and it needs to be protected from pesticide or external trauma or an injury, anything for that matter. And we have to also constantly manage the soil well, so that the the plant becomes as fertile as we saw in this picture. Otherwise it will not be fruit bearing, it will be alive, it will be surviving, right? But then if you want it to be like a fruitful one, then we all have to cater to this, right? However, when we realize that about the plant, when it comes to us as a women, why we look at only the fruit, which needs to be pain free, which needs to be easy, right? So I think this is what I understood, that I am being brutal with my own self, because I'm not realizing how a plant will not bear a fruit or a flower without all these, basic needs that I need to cater to the plant. But when it comes to me, I'm not doing all of that. I'm just expecting me to bear a fruit, right? How illogical it is, and how inhuman of me to expect and demand that from my own self. I have been talking to many women clients over the, decades of my own experience as a holistic health coach and as a therapist. We all don't remember to drink water, forget about all the other things. I think one of the major reason that we have loads of health issues is because of poor water intake, right? Hydration is something that plays a huge role in our menstrual well-being. And as we discussed, in the case of plant, we also need to expose ourselves to sunlight. I have seen so many, clients who are experiencing PCOD, PCOS, because, by the time they step out of the house, there's no sunlight. And once they go and sit in the office, they are not exposed to sunlight. And by the time they step out of the office, there is absolutely no sunlight. So, do you think I will be able to get enough nutrition when I'm not exposing myself to sunlight? I don't think I'm doing any justice, right? I'm doing injustice by demanding my body to be well without even respecting its own needs and its own requirements, right? And the other part that we're all missing is that balanced diet. It is not just that, hog something because I'm hungry, or, not take meal at the proper time, right? We all do it. So let's understand what is the requirement. I think I would say requirement rather than that basic necessity I have, or basic responsibility I have towards my own bodies, to have a balanced diet. If I'm not giving balance, excuse me, if I'm not providing balanced diet to my own self, I have no right to demand that my body functions in a healthy state, right? Because these are the basic pillars for my body to function as a human being. Forget about being a fruit. You're not even going there. If I have to be alive, walking healthily, then I need to have a balanced diet, right? If I'm not giving myself a balanced diet, I have no right to demand a pain free periods. That's it. Okay, so that is something that is very important. So, what is balanced diet? We have to include fruits and vegetables, whole grains, lean proteins, and healthy fats in our balanced diet. Because fruits and veg, I'm sure you all know it. I am not the person who's telling you this. However, knowledge is not equal to I am doing it. Knowledge is only that I know it. When I have to translate this into action, that is when the results come, right? Knowing that I have to water the plant is not going to give a fruit, right? When I pour water to the plant, then only plant grows. Otherwise, it dies. So that's the same thing that is happening to me and my body as well. So we have to be very mindful of consuming a balanced diet. The next thing is specific nutrients are also equally important and very, very crucial for a women body to be productive and nurtured. That is iron, calcium, and vitamin D, and folate. And it's omega 3 fatty acids and vitamin B12 are also equally important for us to function well. Forget about fruit bearing. I'm still not even gone there. Okay. So, this is something that if I want to be healthy and active and productive through the day, then, balanced diets, specific nutrients also need to be taken care for my own health. Okay, and here are some of the other factors that we also need to be mindful of. That is moving my body, you know, in the form of exercise. You can do yoga, you can do jogging, you can do stretches. However, I'm going to underline this. It's not that whenever I am in the good mood, I will do the exercise. Whenever I'm feeling like doing it, I will do it. Or whenever I realize that I haven't been doing it, I will do it. No, it doesn't work that way. So, regularly exercising is something that is as important and as beneficial as eating a healthy, balanced diet, right? So, then what you have to do is you have to have a adequate sleep. It's not that you need, your body needs 8 hours of sleep. No, each one of our requirements are very different. I would urge on a quality of sleep rather than the duration of the sleep. So the deeper my sleep quality is, the uninterrupted is my sleep quality, I will be able to feel better, right? So these are the other things that we need to be mindful of, right? So then comes the stress management. We are all ignorant of how my stress is impacting my overall health, right? So many times we also feel that I am not stressful because I am always smiling, I'm taking care of myself well, I'm not worrying about everything or anything for that matter. However, stress can be a underlying reason, because I have a stress in my subconscious mind, right? Why subconscious? Because my belief systems and my fears are playing a role in my subconscious mind. So that is when we also need to be aware of how these stressors are creating an emotional you know uh, damage to my body. Because the more emotions I generate in my body and I don't process it healthy, because none of us have been taught how to process my emotions in a healthy way, I end up storing them in my body, right? Where in my body? I end up storing them in my gut. I end up having headaches. I end up having stomach upset. I end up having skin diseases. I end up having chronic pains and aches in my body. So that is where emotions also play a huge role in our menstrual health. Okay, not just limited to menstrual health. However, I'm putting under all the holistic approach, because without that I will not be able to deal with the health issues that when it relates to reproductive system. Okay, so the other thing that I need to understand is fruits and fertility. Like certain fruits, like berries. So basically, vitamin C rich fruits, right? Right? Like berries and citrus fruits are known for their antioxidant and vitamin C content, which can support a reproductive health. So any form of berries, which are local to us, which are native to where we are, right? So it can be an amla, it can be grapes, it can be uh, it can be also capsicum, which is also rich in vitamin C. These can be consumed, which helps us in providing the reproductive health. Fruits like bananas and avocados are also beneficial due to their vitamin B6 and healthy fat content, because see, fat is something that is equally important for our body, right? If there is no sufficient, you know it needs to be healthy source also. It's not just any fat, because we are all consuming trans fats, which is not providing any nutrition to us. So here we need to be figuring out healthy way of taking in a uh, natural fat, right? So avocado is one such thing, and ghee is something that we can all consume, which is also a great source of healthy fat. And you also need to understand banana is something that is very very helpful, especially if you are experiencing severe aches and pains, because it is very rich in nutrients like potassium, all of that, potassium, magnesium and all. Other than that, it also has a very rich fiber content. Along with it provides a lot of supporting vitamin B6 to my body. So these are some of the specific roots and you know fertility helpful thing. And a study suggests that consuming a variety of fruits, especially those are rich in vitamin C and linoleic acid, may improve skin aging appearance as well. So uh, these fruits needs to be constantly consumed. However, we all need to remember the basic is balanced diet, physical activity, and hydration, all the other things that we discussed in the previous slides. So, are you all with me so far? Yeah? Is it all getting interested? Let's move on. So, why is that? It's hard for us to keep having a healthy menstrual cycle as we age. So here is something that I want each one of us to go through. That is, hormonal levels varies with every age we are in, right? So when we are young kids, there's a minimal hormone, right? As we start going through a childhood, puberty and maturity, all of that, there is a scaling up of the hormone level in my body. However, as and when I start aging down, then what happens? These hormonal levels go on scaling down. Okay, so these are the things that I need to be very very conscious, because see, when I'm young, my hormone is always supportive to me to manage my menstrual cycle. Because if I ignore my overall health, whether I'm not taking nutritious food, whether I'm not managing some form of a physical activity, I can still manage a lot of stress, because my hormones are always supporting me, right? But then as I grow older, what really happens is there's a decline in the hormonal release in my body, right? Because my fruitful window period is gone, so I will not be able to bear a healthy kid. So then what happens, the nature also stops supporting me through that process. So that is why we start experiencing, menopausal symptoms or irregular cycles. All of that happens. So how is that I manage through this phase of menstrual cycle depends on how well I have taken care of my diet, physical activity, stress management, and hydration. Are we all in this together? Is it all getting interested? Yeah. So we cannot say that, my menstrual cycle is just impacted. No, it is lot of underlying things not gone right is the reason it is reflected in my reproductive system as a just a symptom. Okay, you cannot just go all out there and correct the reproductive, issues, because there is a lot of underlying foundation that has gone wrong. And when it is impacting my body, the hormonal support also goes on dropping. So that's why we end up having these aches and pains, cramps, craving for food, right? Because there's no healthy fat in my body. It's all unhealthy fat that is stored. Then my body craves for that, right? So then I reach out to these chocolates, sweets, especially, you crave a rich carb diet during that time, because your body is craving for that instant energy, because it is losing a lot more calories at that point of time. So keeping your muscle moving is the only way you will save yourself from having the cramps and aches, right? So save yourself from cramps or any kind of a muscle tightness when you keep moving your body. If you're not moving your body, you will not be able to save yourself from aches and pains. Okay, so now how does stress impacts our menstrual health? This is something that I want to specifically talk about, because when I showed you this, menstrual, hormonal chart, we also realized that hormones are not just released in my, reproductive system. They are stimulated or given a command from a master gland called pituitary gland, which is placed in my brain. Okay, so now my pituitary gland has to send command to my reproductive organs to release a FSH hormone. So that is when the cycle of LH hormone, all of this happens. So now what happens when I'm stressed, this pituitary organ stops commanding my reproductive organ stimulating hormones. So then what happens, it indirectly damages or it impacts the quality of menstrual cycle that I'm going to have, right? So I will also show you some slides for your awareness how this works. Okay, see, we all have four stages in our menstrual cycle, that is follicular phase, menstrual phase, and also luteal phase and ovulation phase. And we keep going through these four stages in every menstrual cycle that we all go through. So when we are going, when we begin with this, luteal stage and endometrial stage. So basically, menstrual cycle means there's a endometrium shedding that happens. Can you see this red part? So this is an endometrium. That lining sheds and it disposes in the menstrual cycle. If there is no shedding, then the, egg release happens, and then, you have a sperm interaction, and there's a creation of a new life. Okay, but every cycle we are not creating a new life. Then what happens, this endometrium sheds its membrane and then releases out of our system, and this whole flushing process is supported by a blood flow as well. So all this has to happen because there is a pituitary hormone. So this is the See, that is the physiological one. Here is what I'm showing you, how the hormone impacts it. Right? So there's a hormone level variation, that is, there's a estrogen hormone, there's an LH hormone, and there's a FSH hormone and progesterone hormone. These gets through a different wave of release. Okay, so when there's a variation in these hormonal balance, that is when my endometrium layer starts shedding and starts building a new layer of endometrium. I understand this is all getting so technical. However, we need not become a doctors to manage our menstrual health. However, I just wanted people to understand how magnanimous is our human body, and how, what do you say, architecturally, how it is so well built. Only thing is, we have forgotten to respect the power of our human body. And we have, rather than respecting, we have all been harassing it by not eating right, by not drinking enough water, by not exposing ourselves to sunlight, not moving our body, and we still continue to demand our body to be functioning like everyday else. However, our body also has its limitation, because if I am not respecting and managing the tree well, it will never bear a healthy fruit. Right? So now, if I have not done my responsibilities well, I cannot demand my body or my reproductive system to work well. Are we all in this together? Yeah. So pituitary gland is the master gland which stimulates the release of hormones in my reproductive system to have this menstrual cycle going well. So now what happens? Stress, emotional unhealthiness or mental illness, and also loads of depression or low moods can trigger these pituitary hormones to not function at its best. So then what happens? We have to solve or work on these underlying causes, so that we will have a healthy reproductive system or healthy cycles. So it's not just that my reproductive system is damaged, lot of foundation that is needed to maintain that reproductive health is damaged. So giving an holistic approach and respecting your body, mind and soul can only help you to bounce back this reproductive health. And by the time you bounce back in the reproductive health, you will also recover all the other things that you have lost in the process, whether it is hair loss, skin health issues, or even all the other things that you can go through, like back pain, chronic pain, muscle tightness, cramps, weaknesses, all these can. And you will feel the energy when you are working on all these conditions, so that you will be able to feel better as an individual. Right? Yes, I think that is what I wanted to share, because people are looking at menstrual health as an isolated reason. But I'll tell you, it is not so. It is an outcome of lot of underlying things that have gone wrong. I think I would open this forum to ask any questions if you have, so that I would be able to answer to my best abilities, so that it can be helpful. Yes, Deepa, please go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. B12, as you told, B12 also, I have gone through that. I was not able to know what is the reason for went down like that. Finding out B12 is the problem was very much hard. But nowadays it is a common. It is like cold and cough ತರ B12 ತಟ್ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು. So easily they tell B12 and even the sodium also. Nowadays I was not knowing about it. Sodium levels also. Yeah, very much impact ಆವಾಗಿಂದ what B12 Whenever anyone tell about the B12, I will be listening. Oh, what can be done for that? So, and this was useful. Yeah, as you told, water intake may yeah, if water intake is less, it may harm us. Mm. Even uh, cooling down ourselves is also very much important, no, ma'am. And yeah, when menstrual cycles are going on, even the blood flow will be there, so intake should be there, I feel. Yes.
Fantastic, fantastic, Deepa. So, just looking, thank you for that experience sharing, Deepa. It is as you rightly pointed out, B12 is something that is impacted, and lack of exposure to sunlight is the reason we are all not able to balance, because vitamin D is also very very crucial. One of the reason we end up having loads of cramps and aches and pains is because lack of movement, and also not having enough vitamin D and not exposing to sunlight. So I think chemical balance is something that is equally important. If I have a good chemical balance in my body, then I will be able to attain a good hormonal balance in my blood, which will help me support a healthy menstrual cycle. Otherwise, what happens? My chemical balance is lost, then my hormonal balance will also lose, and I will have unhealthy or irregular or painful and severely, fainting. I actually had a lot of fainting because I was not even drinking water, because school day, college days and all. Oh, who has time to use the washroom? This was something that I always used to give a reason, right? I wouldn't hydrate myself. However, I was always thinking that, during the menstrual period, I will take rest. So then it is going to be okay. Or only during the periods, I will drink enough water. I will eat healthy. So then I'm going to have a normal cycle. No. Today I have realized that, how well I manage my chemical balance, nutrition balance, hydration, and stress level. If I'm stressed through at least 1 week of those 28 days, then my periods shows it. Only thing is, I need to be mindful of watching it and understanding it, why my body is reacting it that way, right? So we are ignorant about all of this, which is actually taking away my health from my own hand. So thank you, Deepa, for that wonderful sharing. Thank you. Yes, Sushi ma'am, please go ahead.
I was just trying to remember how was my periods when I was having them, and what did I do, and what did I do right, and what did I do wrong. I think when we were younger, we didn't have I think we used to go by the first few years of having a periods. I think we had to walk to school, or we had to catch a bus and go to college. So there's always that point of walking. Okay. And you have your classes somewhere in the second floor, third floor, whatever floor. And in a day, you got to go up and down at least twice or three times at least. Okay. You go up to your class, you come down, again, you go up to your class during your lunch, and then again you walk at least that much we're doing. So I was just thinking maybe initial years we wouldn't really be worried and have so much of further. So we had adequate um, I think we had adequate movement and adequate sunlight exposure. What we didn't have is water. I think when we were younger, we never carried water bottles to school. Okay, we would drink there in school, or sometimes if we don't like it or we don't have those things, we would drink water. I think probably because we wouldn't drink water or take water to school, that must have been one of the main reasons that despite having good health in other ways and not be so stressed about it, I think that's where we suffered with a lot of maybe cramps and things like that. And also, when we were kids, this topic of this thing was never discussed. Oh, you got your periods. Now you're a big girl, and that's it. Zero. And you don't even know when you're going to expect the next one. Blup, and then, oh, this has happened. Where has it happened? You have no preparation, right? That was what we went through. Okay. And also that sometimes On the fourth day or the fifth day, the whole day, whole night, in the morning when you have your bath, you have stopped bleeding and you think you have no your periods have stopped, and you go to school and then you'll end up having a mess, right? And we didn't even have teachers who told us, you can come and ask for a napkin and you can take that and things like that. I remember that used to be a big difficulty. But when my daughter went to school, they had that this thing that if they got their periods, they had this thing, aram se liberty to go to the office and say, I got my periods, can I have a pad? They could go and ask there and get. And the office also kept a spare uniform for the girls to change over and use another uniform. And and I think being mothers who had gone through all of this, I used to always send an extra panty, extra napkin, and say, keep this in your bag in case you start, you know what to do, and things like that. So at least that was much more open. Though they did have some classes for us when we were in maybe in the 10th standard. Okay. And it's only girls going and not boys and all those kind of crazy things. So I was just thinking, today's girls, I think they just hate the whole aspect of periods. There is no acceptance to it. They find it that it is coming in the way of their work, their way of life, their way of having freedom. And if they are to work, they have to study or go to college, they feel periods is a big pain. So I think that itself is a wrong attitude which has come. Okay. I still remember one of my colleagues, she will come to work and her head is down on the table. Okay, she'll do her work, and in between her free time, when she doesn't have work, she's taking breaks and she's lying down. And I went off to have a baby, and I came back, and this girl is still like this. Then we went out somewhere. Then I told her, "Hey, Janaki, the whole anybody and everybody who comes to our center know that you have your periods because of the way you behave and project yourself." And she was like so flabbergasted. And I said, what are you going to do about your periods? It will come. No, I have severe stomach ache, that, this, everything. I said, all of us get men. You're not going to be able to do that. Everybody knows, I told her. And I think when I told her that the whole world will know, there was really a mind shift for her. The next month, when she got her periods, nobody knew she had her periods. We said, what? This time you're being aram se, nothing happening. No periods. She said, no, I got my periods. Nothing. I said, yo, what happened? You told no that day that the whole world knows. Anybody who comes, that boy who will sit and type, the doctor, whichever father, mother who comes to pay fees, everybody knows you got periods. I said, yo, shouldn't be like that. And I am fine. Okay. So I think it's totally the way we approach the whole aspect of periods is one of the things. The other thing what I want to say is definitely today's lifestyle. Okay. No matter what, children are being conscious, they're eating the right food most of the time at least, and being generally healthy and things like that. And if they have played, they've gone out in the sun, if they've done their walk or exercise or played any games, like my daughters and her friends they go and play badminton, they go and for walk and things like that. So at least minimum 3 times a week or 4 times a week, if somebody has done about an hour, half an hour minimum, or 45 minutes or 1 hour, and especially when they go and play. So even during periods, they go and play. So I encourage them to say, so what? If you have periods, you go, let them play. And you play. If you feel like playing, you play. Otherwise, it's okay. But I think that being with people, distracting yourself, and being in the company or doing activities that you love to do, I think that makes a lot of difference. If you have your friends coming and you're meeting your friends after a couple of years or a few months, and you're going out and spending time, periods has no problem at all. So it's just like just smoothly going off. I think bringing attention, drawing the children's attention to, hey, your periods came and went and you were busy traveling, running the whole day. How did you manage? I didn't even think about it, ma. I said, see, that's where it's your thought, it's the mind. I know it's not always the mind. Every time we can't blame it on the mind, but I think I totally endorse what Rashmi has shared with us, how important it is to have adequate vitamin C, vitamin D. And if you eat right, and if you have, of course, non vegetarians have lesser problems with vitamin B12, but people like us who are vegetarians, we need to have some milk and things like that. Lots of kids, children don't drink milk when they're young, let alone when they're older. They think, why drinking milk is like a baby? I think no, milk is something which is the best wholesome nutrition which you get for your bones and for your B12. I think that's one of the most important nutrients which keeps you going, because my grandmother lived to 106, and her staple food 100 plus was only milk. Whatever she had was always milk based, was always milk based. She never suffered from lactose intolerance. I think lactose intolerance comes of because of gut issues. Gut issues comes because of stress or some emotional issues. Okay. And when we deal with our emotional issues and we deal with our physical, increase our physical activities, I think the lactose intolerance just disappears. And for a person like my husband, he's today 60, going to be 64 soon. And he has to have his big glass of milk every morning. Okay. And he never says, he has ever said, my stomach is upset because of drinking milk. I don't know what happened today. My stomach went. No, he's never said that. I have said that, but not him. And what I have seen is this thing of lactose intolerance. If I drink maybe Complan or something like that, I might have stomach making all gudu gudu noise. But if I put haldi into the milk and drink and add a pinch of pepper and just put a little bit of jaggery, or if nothing else, just haldi doodh, no lactose intolerance. Stomach is quiet. Whether you are stressed or not stressed, or you have walked or not worked, haldi doodh is helps you to have enjoy your milk. Because some days I crave for milk. I've been a crazy obsessed about milk when I was a kid, and I went to sleep, and my mom used to wake me up and make me feed me milk even when I was in my sleepy stage. Sometimes I would remember, but many times I would have forgotten. And if I got up in the middle of the night to use the bathroom, I'll tell my mom, Mom, you didn't give me milk. I didn't drink milk. So please give me milk. I want to drink milk. And poor thing, those days we did not even have a refrigerator. So she'll keep a glass of milk. She knows, though I have fed this little one, she's going to, if she wakes up, because she's having milk at 9 or 10 in the night, naturally your bladder will say, please clear. It will wake you up. So I will ask for milk. So middle of the night, 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning, she's warming up milk and giving me milk. And then I go back to sleep. Rest assured that I have my milk. So that craving for milk, if you have and you miss drinking milk, I think add quarter teaspoon of haldi, good quality haldi. Okay. And just have it. You'll have mercy. I think very, very important. The thought, how we accept it, what we eat, what we don't eat. And there's nothing we can do. There's nothing in our control to stop our periods. You can't get your uterus out just for the heck of getting it out. We'll end up having more and more problems without our uterus. So I think just enjoy it. And it's only 4 or 5 days. Out of that, maybe only 3 days are really bad. Otherwise, 2 days are bad. Maybe the second, third day is bad. For some people, maybe fourth day. Maximum 2 to 3 days are a tough time. And yes, menopause time, you can have more prolonged periods and all of those kind of things, but enjoy it. Not everybody is born a woman. And I think as women, other than the periods, which is a major, one and only major issue for women, everything else about being a woman is the most beautiful life that we can get. I'd rather be born a woman than be born a man, and be dispassionate and not saying, and be one of the million. You'll have to be born as a man to have all the qualities that a woman can have. So blessed to be a woman and enjoy the periods. That's part of it. And yes, giving birth to a baby is the most beautiful thing. And I think Even going through a normal delivery. I don't know how many girls today have normal deliveries, but I think going through a normal delivery, the kind of pain that we would have gone through, the minute you see the baby, you just forget all the pain, and you're just, it's blissful to see that here is this life which we have brought or came through us, and shouting and screaming and crying. I think that's the biggest, best blessing of being born as a woman. And I don't think everybody gets it. No man can carry a baby, so they don't understand. At least, Deepa, I am very happy that your husband is very alert, that maybe my wife's periods is coming and I should be a little comfortable, or be discreet, or be what do you say, be supportive to her. You're one of those lucky people.
Because
Because
I have gone through a lot, ma'am. It
mm,
was a issue only. I have gone through. I'm on the medications and all. So he got one ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ನಾನೇನಾದ್ರೂ change ಅನ್ಸಿದ್ರೆ he'll get ready and he'll come. What's wrong with you? Is anything anyone told anything? What happened? Everything he'll ask. He'll ask for half an hour. If I'm not telling him,
that's
he'll not
beautiful.
allow me to sleep also. Like that.
Bless him
I feel like
for the way you are,
nothing
and you
has.
are blessed to have a
Yeah,
husband
yeah,
like this.
yeah. I am so blessed. He's so he'll not raise up his voice only, ma'am. Nowadays, before sometimes he used to. He now he'll not, because if anything happens to me, first before getting conceived only we ask the doctor. She is better. I want only her. I don't want the baby also. If she is okay, only we'll go for baby planning, or else no. So much he take care.
Yes, they really good,
Yes,
good
ma'am. Thank
blessings.
you so much.
Tell,
Yes,
tell
yes,
God bless to your husband from our side.
yes,
Okay.
yes, yes.
Thank you
Sure, ma'am.
so much
Sure,
for
sure.
being such a beautiful person.
Yes, yes.
And that
Rashmi
is
ma'am
what
know how he was waiting outside on that day. He was worried so much when I went to the session with Rashmi ma'am. He was waiting what happened to her. Is it necessary to take a session, or what's wrong really with her, Rasha? Because I have gone through a lot, ma'am, here. After the marriage, I went on so much that I forgot myself. So I went through this all. B12 issues and all I went through, and I suffered like anything. My parents suffered like anything. Almost 6 months it took me to come back. And recently also 6 months after the baby, again I got that. I don't know. I am I am feeling that now yoga session I am doing. No, nothing will happen for sure, and nothing will happen again. I
yes,
am so
just
blessed
follow.
that I got. I'm so blessed that I got at least Rashmi ma'am, who is here to take care of us. Each and every time she will be asking. So I'm happy to join this holistic.
Keep doing that and take care of yourself. I'll tell
Yes,
you one
ma'am.
thing, Deepa. I'll tell you one
Mm.
thing. Nothing in this world is more important, or anything is so important that we have to lose our health over it. Nothing.
Yes, yes, yes,
No parent, no
yes, ma'am.
child, no husband, no wife is more important than I or me
I tell
taking
my
care of
husband that
myself.
if he has a back pain, do 10 minutes exercise per day. That is enough because ನಾನು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಬೆನ್ನನ್ನು ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಬೆನ್ನು ನಾನು ಇಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ನಾನು ನೋಡ್ಕೋಬೋದಾಗಿದ್ರೆ I have done that. I cannot do that. You only have to do ಅಂತ. He is like, huh, okay, I'll do. That's all. Now I am getting to know. ನಾನು ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ನನಗೆ ಓಕೆ ಅಂತ. Yes.
ನೀನ್ ನಿಂದು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗು, ಬರ್ತಾರೆ.
We are
ಎಲ್ಲ
deviating.
ಗುಡ್ ಕರ್ಮ ವಿಲ್ ಫಾಲೋ. ನೀನ್ ಮಾಡಿ 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 ನೀನ್ ಇಂಪ್ರೂವ್ ಆಗಕ್ ಶುರು ಆದ್ರೆ, ಓ ಇವಳು ಹಿಂಗಿದ್ದಿದ್ದವಳು ಹಿಂಗಾಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಲು, ನಾನು ಒಂಚೂರು ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಯು ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಬಿ ಕನ್ಸಿಸ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಕಮಿಟೆಡ್ ಟು ಯೋರ್ ಓನ್ ಸೆಲ್ಫ್ and keep doing it, and you will get, your husband will follow soon. The more consistent you are, he will follow soon.
Thank you. Thank you, Suji ma'am. Big round of applause to each one of you. I think it's wonderful, learning. and going through our own memories about menstrual cycle and how mindset, having the right mindset, as Suchi ma'am brought out here. And uh, it has a great impact on how our menstrual health can be managed as well. And as you rightly pointed out, Deepa, nutrition plays a role, people around us play a role, and how great is our support system also plays a major role in each one of our life. So menstrual cycle issues are not just limited to menstrual cycle. That is what I want to reiterate again and again, because don't look at it as an isolated issue, because it has lot more underlying factors which I may be blind eye towards, or which I may be not aware of. So please give a holistic approach to your own health, physical, mental, emotional, and your social connections and your relationships, and your nutrition, your physical activity, your mental ability, your mindset, your thought process, your consistency, and not to forget your hydration. I think all of this taken care, you don't have to worry about your menstrual cycle. Otherwise, I will be just only doing an SOS need, like, I have my periods today, so I will drink water. After that, I will forget it, which will not actually help me sustain the good health. And as Deepa rightly pointed out, yes, consistently being there, and I love the way she's showing up for her own self every day, come what may. How with a small little baby she's able to commit that. And I'm sure she's seeing a great benefit, because just popping a pill is not a solution. Of course, chemical balance is needed. Along with that, lot of lifestyle changes in terms of moment, and having the right mindset, having the right thought process, and continuously being in the willingness to keep learning to grow ourselves is equally important. Otherwise, we all carry our own childhood traumas, and we're all clinging on to those belief systems, and we always criticize or blame the new belief systems, or people who question our belief system also, right? I think this has been a fantastic learning experience together. I will also upload this video on the YouTube channel so that people can get access to this information and share with their loved ones, and make them realize how important is a holistic approach, and not just looking at it as in one isolated case. So thank you everybody for your wonderful participation. Thank you for your valuable inputs and great sharing here. Thank you everybody for this wonderful opportunity to share my small life learning lessons with you, each one of you. Thank you. Have a blessed day. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you.